Welcome. I have with me Jodie Gallant. She is the CEO at Work Lakes Region, which is in Laconia, New Hampshire, population 17,000, which is about 17,000 people more than the town Jodie grew up in. We were just chatting about Central New York, and we just discovered, I mean, Jodie, I've known you for years now, and we
Yeah.
never uncovered the Central New York commonality. So Jodie grew up near Chittenango, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I never even knew the population there was so low.
It's tiny. I know. I should look and see what my population is.
Makes
Tiny, tiny. Anyway, so small town to slightly bigger town, but still, you spent most of your adult life there. And I want to hear about your non-co-working background
Mm,
and how you came to decide you should do a co-working space in Laconia, New Hampshire.
sure. I would love that. So I'd like to say I'm a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, but that's really been only in the last 15 years. I am, from a professional standpoint, a business and brand strategist. I had started my career corporate as a marketing director for a cable company back
Nice.
when we were launching digital cable and high-speed internet, before phone, before video on demand, before DVRs, before unlimited music, like before all of the things that are so common today. I was on the launch team just to bring internet to your house.
Wild.
So, yeah, that's dating me for sure because nobody remembers what life was like without that.
Well, in a rural town, I mean, I could still remember my mom chasing like the cable guy to be like, "Can we get a line? Could we get a
Yeah,
line?"
yeah,
Literally physically chasing him down.
I believe it. Yeah, I know a lot of those stories. But yeah, so I grew like I basically grew up in my career in a corporate environment with a company that was privately owned by a family. So even though it was corporate and an expansion from New Hampshire to Mississippi over, 10 years and being a part of launches of like, 10 different product lines and, expanding from one operating system to I think there was like 14 or something when I left. I grew up with the understanding, the philosophies, and the conditioning on decision making from a family run and managed business. So that entrepreneurial like spirit was even like part of my corporate experience and really became the foundation of like everything that I have carried forward in my career to date. So with that, when I left there in 2012, I started my own marketing agency, which
Wait,
really
and
kind
so
of
was
funny. I
it
didn't
like,
actually mean to start a marketing
okay.
agency.
I was gonna say, did like, yeah, did you were like, I have the entrepreneurial bug. I'm
No, no,
okay.
no. I had 3 little kids under the age of 5.
Oh boy.
Oh, no, I lied. My youngest was 5. Under the age of
5 and under.
yeah,
Yeah.
5 to 10. 10 to
Okay.
5. I forget.
Okay.
So long ago. And I was burnt out corporate. I was burnt out traveling up and down the East Coast. It was high stress and being torn between family life and my career, which I loved and I thrive in
Yeah.
working as a mom and doing all of that. That's my jam. And my husband at the time and his father owned a business, construction company that was really starting to grow coming out of like the recession of the
Oh, that's
2008
right.
area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his father had some challenges from an accident on the job. And so his health was deteriorating. And so we opted as a family for me to leave corporate and help my husband build his family's construction company together, taking all of the like business ownership management, project management, budgeting aspects and use those in the family business from home so I could be with my kids because I was like dead burnt out, like classic example.
Yeah.
And the business when we moved into it wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be. So, and I also didn't want to lose my identity professionally. So I had started taking some local clients just like to offset insurance costs and just basic things. And also to like stay ingrained locally in my community, which was great. And as it turned out, I needed to also generate and replace my income And so I was able to actually do that without the original plan to do that within 9 months of being a fly by the seat of my pants entrepreneur and opening a marketing agency and helping my husband with this construction company. So from day one, it's really important. I've always been in ownership of two operating small businesses from day one. That has never changed over the last almost 15 years or so. And that said, I didn't really know I started a marketing agency until like 3 years later. And then I was like, oh, maybe I too should have a website and a logo and a business card.
Wow. So you were
Um,
just selling word of mouth.
yeah, I just
Yep.
had a huge, being in marketing and for small local businesses, you're involved in the Chamber of Commerce and networking and fundraising events and volunteer committees, just all of the things that marketing communications and PR brings to like the hub of a collective community region. And so I had built huge relationships with everybody that lived in New Hampshire's Lakes region from a professional aspect. So when people started to hear that I was looking for projects, not employment, they were like knocking on my door. Yeah, it just happened. It was organic and it was lovely. And it couldn't have been, more divinely aligned than it was. And JMG is the name of the company, and it's still in place and a primary focus of mine to date. To jump back to that, my first JMG office was a folding table in my living room.
Of course.
6 months later, my second one was a shared office at the top of the stairs of somebody else's office space. So I had to interrupt their insurance company to climb the stairs to get up to my little one-room office, to then signing a lease in 2014 for 3 years as my team was growing. And I was like, this is a nightmare. And that was also like around the time that the WeWork in Boston became like public knowledge, I think, if I'm aligning myself correctly.
Yeah,
Time-wise.
2014 sounds
Okay.
about right.
And it
Like
was in
pretty
the Boston.
early WeWork still, but
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
It was in the Boston Herald and the Globe, and there was some other things that kept coming up on LinkedIn.
Oh.
And I said to my team, and I was like, you guys, wouldn't it be so great to just go to work with cool people like I used to when I worked corporate? And it just kind of ignited this idea of like, that's what I loved that I was missing, but that's what I wanted. And so, honest to God, I just signed my first lease, 3 years, and there was this old mill building in downtown Laconia, and I was like, oh, that would be a perfect place. So I dragged my husband at the time there to look at the building, and we were like, this place is a dump. This is not like suitable for that. I'm like, it would be a great co-working space, like a WeWork in Laconia. Anyway, my husband was like, you got enough to do, so like go back to work and drop the idea, and I did. And then 3 years later, we built out a space for me because at this point I've had multiple ownership in other companies. So at this time I have the construction company. We purchased ownership of a marine line manufacturing company. And then I still always have my marketing. So every time I take ownership or partnership with another business over my career, my job is strategy and marketing. So it's easy. It rolls right into JMG. So we build out this place 2018, end of 18, move in.
And your husband at the time built it out since he was a GC. Okay.
Yeah, we built it out.
But you were leasing. You leased that space.
I still was leasing at this point from our business partner who owned the space. But we built it out to like fit exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Funny thing is today my 23-year-old daughter's business is in that space. So it's
my gosh. Of course she's an entrepreneur because mom.
Yeah. So anyway, just fast forwarding that. So at this time, I'm like, I still miss working with people. So we have the manufacturing company out back and we're out front. So I'm like, okay, we've got people. This is good.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, like COVID, everybody went home. I spent 6 months, 7 months by myself in my office with nobody around. And I was like, this is silly. So out I go home and I sit miserable for like a good solid year going, where's my people? I need people. And I like to go to work.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. I would put on an outfit and go. Yep.
Yeah. And like be with people and like home is home and work is work and they might intersect. And I like the option of working at home, but like I like to go to work.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, ding, 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 we should have co-working, right? And I was like, that idea never left,
It
like,
won't
my
die.
knowing. It did not
Yeah.
die. It was in me for whatever reason it was supposed to be, and I had no idea, like, how to even begin the idea of it. So I sat on it for a while. 2021, I think I discovered you, Jamie, through a shared connection at the Coho House, Kristen
Oh,
Harp.
Kristen. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, "How did you do it?" And she's like, "Look at Jamie and everything co-working." And then I joined your startup school in 2022,
Okay.
and I started looking at places, and then we looked at 7 places, all different sizes and makeups, and I was like, I couldn't find a spot that worked, and I was like, "I'm all done, I'm out." When I happened to drive by the space I'm sitting in today and throwing an idea at the property owner on like, "Have you thought about co-working?" And he wanted a restaurant, and he's like, "I think that's a great
Sweet.
idea." And he became the support agent I needed to bring what is Work Lakes Region to life. But 2022, I spent the whole year researching, was about to let it go. 2023, after a year long, we signed a lease. We started a build out in a brand new building, construction in our retail space in July of 23, and opened in October of 23. So last week
Yeah.
we just crossed 2 years, but it's really kind of funny that it really was self-enlightened dream to build a co-working space so I could have a place to go to work as an entrepreneur, self-employed, but work with like cool people. So that's where I am today. And the marketing agency supports the co-working company among other clients that we serve. So it's always been like an interactive, like cohesive component. And in that, I will say this, I have relinquished all ownership and all other previous entities that I was had partnership in because I wanted to give my full attention beyond JMG to this Lakes Region co-working concept and idea to the Lakes region of New Hampshire. And I knew I would only be able to do that if my sweet spot is 2 business
Yeah.
ownerships, not more than.
I think that's probably true for a lot of people, unless they have a lot of help. Yeah.
That's where we are today.
And a
But
wife.
yeah.
Okay. So, and also tell me, so you have the marketing company, but you also do, I mean, you do workshops. Like part of the reason
Yeah.
you built out the space how you did is because you wanted to do events, some of them being your own. Can you just talk about that piece of it too?
Yeah. Owning a business is hard.
Hmm.
We take everything personal and we think we have to do everything ourselves.
Uh,
And over the last, 15 years, I've actually had the privilege of being a business owner with 8 other businesses and brands, not just the construction company, but manufacturing and just a slew of other like really cool, fun things. So I've been able to see it through different business models, perspective of ownership and the stress and the weight of responsibility that comes with that. Also paired with having a marketing agency, I've had the privilege of working with now, I think we counted well over 300 different businesses in central New Hampshire over the last almost 15 years from all different scales to total brand development, to small one-off press releases, to event hosting, to asset design, to event planning, like you name it, like marketing is marketing. We've done a lot. So 300 sounds like a lot, but like when you look at the different variations of project types, it would make sense. So in a market area that is very much saturated and plentiful of entrepreneurs, self-employed tradesmen, that's kind of the core. We're like a very hospitality driven marketplace, tourist destination
okay.
for
Yep.
sure.
Yep. Hmm.
Then we have manufacturing, and then we have education and healthcare. And then everybody else is an entrepreneur or business owner. So majority of the clients that we've had at the marketing agency are small business owners. So when you do a marketing project of any scale, you're working with the decision maker and often the business owner. And so in marketing is very intimate because, you're trying to market, sell, and exploit and expose the visibility of your business, product, or service. So we get into a lot of conversations about what's happening on the inside and
Yeah.
can you deliver what we're going to announce you can deliver. And so I had an intimate like perspective and view, not only mine but my clients, of the challenges and struggles of owning a business. And so that spun me off in like 18, 19 to think about how can we start to share our knowledge and our secrets and our systems and trainings to help our community evolve so that we could also, as the heartbeat of our main streets, also have a life and not miss our kids' soccer games
Yeah.
because, work is calling, or, be at the town parade, but not in the parade, and just all the things that happen. And so it kind of ignited a pathway for me to, and I'm very transparent, as you can see, to host, share, and create training programs so that we could, connect the dots and on learning how to be a better business owner that's not at the expense of our health, our life, our families, and all of those things. So I started coaching and I started hosting masterminds and small off events or bigger events, and just bringing other like really cool, smart, talented people into the room to share their knowledge. So again, I can't just do one thing.
I know. I was like, I think you forgot about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was part of
Which
like the way
also,
that
I mean, I kind of want to count that as a business, you know?
it kind of is. I mean, I have my own, it has its own website and pathway in. It's an extension of the agency, but it does have a pathway
Okay.
in
Yeah.
through its own channel. So it does look like 3 businesses. But I'll be honest with you, that kind of died down when co-working build out
Yeah.
started because there's only one of me. So
Yep.
as much support as I have, there's only one. But I did build, you're right, I did build out the format and the layout with the architect and the team to have up to a 30 person. Well, I thought it was going to be 35 people like in this workshop space. But then once
Yep.
I've learned over the last 2 years that when you put bodies in there, 20 to 25 is the hot spot. So we had to like change our 35 seat workshop area to like 25 seat.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Right. Cause like when
Yep.
you do the design layout and then you physically get in there with other
Yeah.
people, you're like, no, you can't squeeze 35 people in here like a
Yeah.
sausage. And then we also made it like scalable so that the wall between the workshop and the co-working space
Yeah.
opens up for expansion. So the idea was like to build a floor plan that is sustainable for co-working, private offices, desks, the whole core model of co-working, and also then host live events, training events, in-person events, meetings, small groups, and a small boardroom, and contour it in a way that I could have my own space for the things I wanted and get people back in the room together
Yeah.
versus Zoom. And then also create it in a way that our local community, nonprofits, organizations, and businesses can also use the space differently and scalable. So yeah, there was a lot. I wanted to have co-working since 2014 for myself. I missed my people. I wanted to get out of my house and I wanted my own space to host my own trainings. And that all became like the conduit towards deciding how to design the floor space within the space we picked that already had the mechanics, all the mechanical
Mm.
infrastructure already installed. So we had to like kind of work our way in a floor plan around that infrastructure too and try to make it work.
Okay.
But
You
we did.
have
Yeah.
roughly 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4,000.
Okay. How many offices?
13.
Okay. Are they full?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. That took a little bit. I was like, Jodie, your offices will sell right away. And you're like, they're not selling right away.
No, I think, well, there's a funny, we had started with 12. I had the room I'm sitting in right now. We had like a little like shared room. I actually just this winter turned this into like a private micro office,
Mm-hmm.
which people are loving. So I'm so happy I did that. And I would say probably it took about 8 to 9 months for the offices to fill, but it was a full solid year before they were fully like
Fully full.
locked
Yeah.
in. And in year 2, if we've had some transition, it's less than 30 days before somebody else
Great.
transitions in.
Okay.
And at this point, I would say of the 13 offices, 12 of them have 1 or 2 year agreements on them. And I don't see anything. I got smarter with locking people
Term.
in
Yep.
longer
Leaping better
and
at night. Yeah.
yeah, not discounting them as much because there's a greater need for them.
Yeah. And now you
And
believe that, right? They're
yeah,
full and you're like, "Okay, people there's demand for these offices.
yeah,
They will get filled if they open." Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't get as nervous, and I have a little bit of a wait list of, like, not necessarily that I have, like, a wait list of, like, I'm hot on that, but, like,
Yep.
I'm really strongly interested, so I do nurture them when I know space is becoming available so that they can, check in with me. I'm pretty I play a very close line to staying in touch with the people that have expressed interest,
Yeah.
but haven't necessarily said yes or come in yet. It's a small area though too, so I don't have, like, hundreds of people knocking down my door.
Yeah, totally. But, speaking of nurturing, if you want to follow a true marketer newsletter in co-working, subscribe to Jodie's newsletter. You are super consistent and you market and sell in your newsletter.
I mean, email marketing is the
Yeah.
heartbeat of decision making, so you
Well,
need to be there
thank you.
all day long. Yeah.
Mic drop.
I still and it's really actually the way that systems work today, easy to set it and forget it. So, like, we do a lot of our email marketing in advance, and we plan ahead 4 to 6 weeks in advance on core things we know aren't changing, like events or
Yeah.
special, like, promo offers. And then every once in a while, when I feel the intuitive hit, I'll jump in and share, like, just an update or a story or a debrief that's, like,
Yep.
personalized and, like, what's happening, and just try to keep it personal because it's my business, it's my story, and I, get to share the insight on what's happening, and it's fun. It's fun to take ownership, I think, to let our community know what's happening.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you're planning ahead for all the core things you want to, like your content calendar, which gives you the creative freedom when you feel it. You have the capacity to get in there and share what you want to share, but you're not sitting there like with the, cursor blinking. Like, what do I write in my newsletter this week? So, I
And
mean, that
honestly,
comes
I
from
don't have
your,
I mean, you might call it a newsletter because it's from an email
yeah,
system, but I
yeah,
actually don't have a newsletter.
like a format, a newsletter
Mm.
format. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
You know
don't
what?
have a
Maybe,
regular pattern either, Jamie.
yeah. Oh, you
I
don't?
I don't. You
It's
can look
funny,
that
so I feel like you do, and I look
yeah.
forward to them,
My
probably because it's
philosophy is if I don't have something of value to share, I won't share anything. I won't show up just to show up. I'll show up. So some weeks you might get 3 emails from me.
Mm,
Sometimes you might go 2 weeks where you don't get anything.
okay.
It's timely for events and production programs, and there's a system that we've worked here in the Lakes region of New Hampshire with not only our company, but others, so we know kind of the rhythm to get people to make decisions on showing up for events. And then the rest, my commitment is I'm not going to spam your inbox, but when I show up, it's because I feel like there's something of value or a good story and inspiration or a special offer that is, something that you can't miss. And I think for me, that also releases the pressure to sit at a blank cursor and think about what I need to do because someone said I have to show up every single Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
So I really try to work differently and think through about like who is in my community. I personalize a lot of like sometimes I'll write an email to my best friend so that when I send it to my community, it's really like the meaty side of what I want to say. And sometimes I'll pick out like if I am having an event or a special offer, I will write it in thought to the person that maybe I recently talked to on site that was considering coming in for one reason or the other and write it to them as if it's a personal love letter to them and then share it with the community in the thought that if one person needs this message, other people do as well. And I think that allows my emails to be a little more fun
Okay.
too.
Yeah, that must be it. I'm taking some notes because like fun and maybe like just natural and authentic. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I do use well, right now I'm really do use AI often.
Uh-huh.
I think faster than I can type. So sometimes I'll auto record
Yeah.
my message. I'll
Mhm.
drop the transcript into right now I'm loving
Claude.
Claude.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
people like Claude better for writing. Like,
She's
it can
really
learn
fun.
your voice and
Yeah,
yeah.
she's really quick and fun, and she, like, really spits out personalized language and word usage that you record and say yourself, and she gets you, I think, a little bit more than some of the other
Mhm.
ones,
Yep.
AIs, and I will use it to help curate, speed up, all of that, and then we will, massage ourselves. So, it's not always me sitting down and single-handedly typing out my letter. Sometimes I voice record it while I'm driving between appointments.
That's one of
And
my
so
favorites.
technology for the win.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I got a traffic ticket talking to AI recently. I was so mad. I was like, "No, I was just, like, dictating." And they were like, "Yeah, you're touching the phone." I was like, "Nah." I have an
Yeah,
old car that doesn't have, like, the CarPlay, so I probably
I
need
get
to
it.
update or I'm gonna keep getting tickets. Okay, one little nugget I wanna cover before we dive into some of the marketing approaches you've taken in your space, which I think are really interesting given your background. I remember I don't know why we were talking, but you told me this little story about someone who was like, "Well, I'm interested in being a member, but I don't wanna, like, dress up every day."
Mm,
Like, this insight that she didn't really know how to people behave in a co-working space, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this because no one thinks to address, like, "Oh, I don't have outfits anymore. I work in Lululemon." And that
so
so if
funny.
I come to the co-working space because you like to dress up, like, do I have to buy outfits and will I not fit in? And I just thought, like, from a marketing perspective, like, what an interesting little nugget that might have some resistance, to coming.
We used that too. We actually spoke to that in some email and things. It was like, "Look, we don't care if you come in your sweatpants or your leggings or your suit and tie. Work Lakes Region is here for you to show up and work effectively, efficiently, meet some cool people, and then go home so that you can have a better Lakes Region life, work a little smarter, not harder, but, like, cozy up." Like, one of the things I think happened for us too is the Lake Street I think a lot of communities have, like, an aesthetic vibe, and the Lakes region is, like, very cottagey. It's on Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire, so it's very lake-like in decor in most of the businesses around here, and boating is a big deal, skiing is a big thing, the 4 seasons in New Hampshire. Our space here at work was designed and laid out to look very similar to a lot of restaurants that I like to go to. High
Mhm.
ceilings, kind of industrial, a little more
Yep.
contemporary, a little cleaner look, but also, like, I always forget the name of it, mid-century modern, furniture
Mhm.
styling.
Yep.
So when people came into our space, they felt like it looked very different and a little more formal than they expected in
Mm.
the Lakes region,
Yep.
cozy lakeside community.
Yep.
And so we got a lot of, like, questions like that, and I remember talking to you about it because I was like, "Oh, that's really like, we want to look cool, but, like, we don't care what people wear, you know?" Well, I mean, we do, but, you know? And so we started to play on that in our marketing messaging and our storytelling, and it worked. So there is no you'll come in and people will wear, like, their workout clothes and they'll sit for 2 or 3 hours in between or, suit and tie jackets. We get all of it, and there's no issue with the whole thing, but it was I think for me, it was I remember talking to you about this too because I have always had a small team, and it was really intimate and not a lot of people for so long that I forgot some of the limitations or stories or concerns or fears that people have when going to work. And so that started to open up my perspective and understanding on how or why people make decisions on going to co-working.
Mhm.
And it kind of caught me off guard, but I get it now when you're used to sitting, in your sweatpants or Lulu leggings at the counter. And then you're gonna go sit and work next to somebody who might be in a skirt and high heels. Yeah, I can see how that could, like, maybe rattle you a little bit.
Totally.
So, yeah, it just makes me think of anything that people say is data and information, and you need to listen.
Totally. And sometimes we forget how we used to feel. even things like, if I'm traveling, I'm like, okay, well, can I make a phone call there? Can I do this
Ooh,
meeting?
that
Because I find myself having this like, okay, I'll just stay in the hotel room because I know what I have to work with here. Or even lunch, like, well, at home, I just make my lunch and I can make my healthy, easy lunch. But, it's like, okay, well, where am I going to get my lunch when I go to the co-working space, or can I store it? Just all those little things that
little
are
th
like
little, like,
real.
things that we take for granted. I think one of the things that people the most common question that I field right now is, "Can I take a phone call or a Zoom call out here?"
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Of course, why?"
Yeah.
"Well, I don't." I'm like, "Do you would like, we just recommend,
Headphones.
earbuds,
Yeah.
headphones, whatever, and, be cognizant of the the volume of your voice and look like, read the room." We don't have a phone booth. We don't have a private pop-in. Like, if you're out in that shared area, you're out in that shared area. That's
Yeah.
all we got. So just kind of spread out and be cognizant. And people are like, I said, and everybody's working like that.
Mhm.
So nobody's alarmed.
Right.
And then everyone's like, oh, phew, okay, good.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they're usually fine and it works well. I think I've only had to interrupt one person once who had just this really loud, boisterous voice, and he had no idea he was being loud. Like, his voice volume was loud, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I was just like, kind of did like little
Yeah.
turn down with like my fingers. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I think that's the only time, and it wasn't even that big of a deal, but we have high ceilings, so it echoes. So like it was loud. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, so let's talk creative marketing. So when you
Okay.
opened early, I think you were sort of like, okay, let me pull from my marketing background. What can I try? So you did a couple of creative things that a lot of marketing. Well, I'd love to circle back to sort of your thoughts on email marketing after trying radio, direct mail. Can you talk about your experimentation and what worked and didn't work?
I will say I think everything worked. Every single thing that we've done
Mm,
has worked in one way or another.
okay.
Some things are more measurable
Yeah.
than others, and some things are more residual through conversations and asking people follow-up questions on how they hear of you and what they've done. I relied heavily on my partnership and membership with the Chamber of Commerce, first and foremost.
Do you have an
Um
active chamber? I mean, is that kind of an advantage of
Yep.
mhm.
And we have an active chamber with a lot of connections and people that are connectors, but they also have a lot of resources. So, for example, our chamber's email list is way bigger than mine.
Interesting. Mhm.
So, guess whose I use the most?
Interesting.
They have, I don't even know how many members. We have a lot of members, but they have website stats. So we looked at the stats and said, how can we use this? They have an events calendar. We put everything that we host on their events calendar. We use their email marketing. We tried the best we can to go to their programs and network the room. And we try to host as many things as we can, like at least once a year as a goal, on site in partnership with them to bring their community into our space. So if it wasn't for the Chamber of Commerce, I think that I probably, and there's two of them that I use, a smaller one local and then the primary Lakes Region Chamber.
Mm.
And I also use another association, which is the Lakes Region, no, yeah, the Lakes Region Tourism Association. So I really highly recommend local business affiliate organizations for co-working because their members are business owners and employees of businesses that are working in the area that your business is housed. So that's like a direct connection to your potential customers and or also usually if someone's involved in a chamber or one of those organizations, they're also in the know of what's going on, so you get to be your business and service gets seen by the people that like to talk about what's going on.
Mm.
So that
Like the
grassroots,
natural connectors,
yeah, the
natural like
grassroots
mavens.
effort
Yeah.
conversations, those are your people, the
Mhm.
connectors, the talkers, the communicators. So like hitting that direct was essential for us and everything that we do and continue to do. We also have a very active local newspaper. It's called the Laconia Daily Sun. It's a daily paper. It prints Tuesday through Saturday. There's a business section on Tuesdays, and they have a very, very large online following because our seasonal residential base, it comes for the summer. They have second homes here. They live here. Our community doubles in size. And then everybody goes back south to Florida or wherever they go. But they still follow what's happening through this newspaper online. So that being said, we would be in print, we would use press releases for free earned media, and we will do digital marketing, email marketing to their email list, and web tiles, web banners, things on both platforms, because we get people coming to the area, people that are here half the year that want to use the space. And then that's the go-to daily like gossip publication that lets everybody know what's happening. Town politics, school sports, letters to the editor, obituaries, hot, events, programming. So I want my business in those eyeballs. So traditional marketing for us is kind of like a no-brainer. We are also a very small local marketplace. We're not off of a large DMA or a city. So showing up in our mailboxes and our, newspaper and with our chamber community is, I think, a small community essential for marketing, new business or not.
Mm-hmm.
We host a lot of events. We did radio marketing.
Yeah, tell me about the radio. I remember you doing that. Mm-hmm.
We still do a little radio marketing,
And
we're
you do
looking
this
into
for
it more.
some of your clients, right? So you were like, okay, let's try it.
Yeah. So like a lot of people think, oh, XM Sirius, people aren't listening to the radio anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong. Not true. Radio has a very powerful distribution voice. In our area too, satellite stations don't always come in because like a mountain will be in the way
Yeah.
or whatnot, right?
Yep.
Also, radio has data measurements, so you can actually see in a geographic area the listenership. So you can actually look at the stats from the stations to decide if in the market area, geographic area you're trying to communicate and announce to has a listenership that supports distribution of your message. So for us, radio was like a no-brainer. I also have a lot of radio partners from being in marketing over the years. So I was able to really negotiate some really cool partnerships and collaborations. As a brand new business, we traded CoworkingSpace for airtime and got really like strategic they want our business to be successful for the long term to continue working with them. So they're very creative with coming up with promotions, programs, giveaways, sales, announcements, promos, things like that. Like at our grand opening, we had one of the radio stations live on site during our whole grand opening, bringing people in, doing a drawing, just that fun. And a lot of times those are people driving and listening to you between work and home, between Saturday mornings, which Saturday morning buy time is like really cool for local businesses. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. local radio Saturdays. There's a plug for you. Everyone's driving their kids to sports, running errands, dropping things off at Goodwill, the garbage, the dump, the recycle, like all the things in their car. Great way to talk about something local happening. So radio was a really big deal for us too the first year. And now we just kind of burst spot it over time. But the thing with radio is brand awareness, education, value proposition. It's not transactional. So when they see something in the newspaper, get an email, or find something online, they're already kind of like in tune to hearing. I don't know if you know this. My brain was like jumping. When I was years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, like they said, it takes you 8 times to hear or see something in order for it to resonate, to make a decision. So frequency in marketing is key.
Yep.
And now because of content creation, it's over 25 times. So like you have to go auditory, visual, tangible, physical, different platforms. So the mixed marketing platform of traditional and digital is really more important, I think, than ever. It's not as measurable as digital, which people really struggle with.
Yeah.
But when you talk to people in your space about how did you hear me, they will say, oh, I think I heard you on, I think either someone told me about it or I think I heard you on the radio. Were you on the radio? Is that weird? And you're like, nope, thank you. So radio was good. So we kind of strategized like how we used it, what time frame. We did a big pre-launch campaign prior to. We did use digital media. I'll be honest with you, using Meta and lead generation on social media, which we tried for a long time, is really difficult in our demographic area because we don't have the volume of
Mhm.
users that
Yeah.
is cohesive to building a large, like a warm audience. So we had to go so big to meet the requirements that we were marketing to areas that are 2 hours outside of our area, and no one's coming to my co-working
Right.
with a 2 hour commute.
Yeah.
But we're,
Like,
central
just
New
to get
Hampshire.
Facebook or Meta to, like, put the ads out. Yeah.
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 So I've actually dialed back over the last year using that
Yeah.
platform, and
Okay, but
continue to.
radio kind of plays that role. I mean, that's really
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, the 25 times, I do think anyone who comes from a marketing background has an advantage because I think owners who don't come from a marketing background are also very often hesitant to spend money on marketing, especially if you can't measure it. Because you have this belief that there's multi-channel marketing. We need to hit people 25 times for them to, really like process and make a move when they're ready. So you just need to do it, and you need to be always like running in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
so you're gonna sort of choose strategies and
yeah.
tactics to make that happen.
And
And
you
I
play
think
around
that's
with it a little bit too, and ask a lot of other business owners what they do and what works for them,
yeah.
because they'll tell you, like, ask a local car dealership how they market.
I mean, that's a great point because you want to talk about somebody who's in the customer acquisition business, like, yeah, and
They know
right, and they're running
what tactics
specials and
work.
doing deals and that's a great tip.
Yeah.
Great tip. Okay, tell me about your your
My
mailers,
direct mail?
your direct mail. Sorry,
I know, I
yes.
remember when I did direct mail and you're like, "You're what?"
Mhm.
I
Well,
did.
people try it, and I wonder sometimes I'm like, do they have this like approach? Is the approach up or just yeah, how do you do it so it's measurable? Or maybe you just have to believe that it's another touch point. And yeah, I'd love to hear how you were thinking about it.
We were open. We opened in October. We did your challenge to do a back to school.
Oh, yep.
You're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's so smart." So, like, I worked with your group to learn about, like, what everybody was doing from that perspective. And so when we did the back to school, which is also a very transitional time of year when people make different decisions to get back to a normalized schedule and what that means for them with their families and, like, working from home, it made really good sense to me. It clicked that was like, those decisions are being made now. I don't wanna miss that window of opportunity to introduce them to Work Lakes Region. Also, Work Lakes Region is the first co-working or facility, like, an hour north of anything around here. So, like, we have a lot of tourism-based users, like, people come for a week for vacation and extend their vacation and work here, or they do a day pass because they're coming to a concert. I would say 65% of all of the users of the last 2 years have used co-working or use co-working in other areas of where they live or they come from. So, there was no education, awareness marketing that they needed. They were coming in looking for co-working, and we love them. Keep coming back. And then the rest is like, who's gonna be our core members, and how do we educate the value of co-working in this new way? And New Hampshire is very slow to adopt new things, very cautious and very aware of what this means to us. And once we get it, we're wicked loyal and amazing. But, like, we do err on the side of caution for new things. So co-working being new was like, how can I get door to door with these people? And the only way that I knew I could do that was, how can I get in their mailbox? Direct mail is not that busy anymore. So it was like, oh, if I could get direct mail in the mailbox, then I know I'm not getting lost in junk mail. I'm going to probably stand out. And also in, like, 2003 to 2013 corporate, we had the largest success of trackable sales at the cable company in our marketplace using direct mail. So I kind of had, like, this knowledge that it worked in our community. So it was a matter of, like, how do I connect the dots? And then where am I going to get addresses? And then how am I going to get addresses that are actually the people I want to talk to? So we used a third-party company that could scrub our zip codes, could look at income brackets, could look at age groups, could look at working from home remote category. So we looked at that, and the list that they pulled was very big and the surrounding 8 towns, and I didn't have a budget for it. So in working with them, I told them what my budget was, and what we did was we ended up picking 3 towns, the town we're in and 2 complementary, like, neighboring towns, and only decided to direct mail and scale down to meet our budget and then hit, like, real true. And I picked towns not by the number of addresses they had, but I scanned where our community was coming from. And so, like, if people were coming from the town of Meredith or
Mhm.
Guilford or Laconia or Bedford or Belmont, then I wanted to have more of those addresses in my list than a different one, because that meant there's a greater chance of people talking about co-working in that town because of the people that go to it. So it kind of like you have to kind of get into like the thought process of who the people are. We designed a mailer to support our campaign, and we distributed, I think, 2,300 pieces in 3 towns. Very targeted. We got I think 4 tours and 2 sales. Very small in like transition. And at first by the deadline. And since that was last year in September, since that we've had another handful, I would say probably up and overwards of 10 people come in with day passes, working long term, brought friends in. And when you say, "How did you hear?" "Oh, I have that direct mailer in my folder from, I think you sent it a couple years ago." And I'm like, "Oh, last year." And so it's one of those long-term residual awareness-based pieces. And so I also know that when people have said, "Oh, I think I got something from you in the mail once." So I didn't necessarily get the sales transaction, but I was
Mhm.
okay with that. I got the awareness at the home of the potential client who now knows I'm there, who might not read the Daily Sun or who might not listen to the radio station I'm on or may not have joined our email list just yet, that can talk about it with their friends. And yeah, I think it was a great investment for us.
What was the call to action on the mailer?
That one for I think it was $99 a month for 6 months.
Oh, okay. So it was just like, "Come in.
A
I mean, here's
promotion.
the
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, bring your card in and
Yeah, book a
we'll" yeah.
tour and by the end of the month and you're eligible for this offer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, there was a deadline for the offer of like October 15th or September 30th or something like that. So we always have a call to action. We always have a deadline.
Yep.
But realistically, I that wasn't a motivating factor for me. It was more of like education, awareness,
Awareness, yeah.
invitation to that I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're out of time. I have more questions, so we might have to do this again sometime.
Okay. Happy to.
I love your marketing background and just, yeah, you've been sharing all sorts of good nuggets. Okay, how about biggest lesson learned in opening a co-working space in a smaller market or something unexpected, one or the other?
Collaboration is key. And with other businesses. I think the biggest success we have had here is inviting other businesses, communities on site in partnership for events, programs, or special one-off days, and leveraging who they know and who they talk to and giving them free days has proven to be very valuable for us. And showing up and talking to every single person that works here, it's also been a big surprise, which
Okay.
I do, but it's hard.
Oh, having to, you mean having to show up to every, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, no, or like to talk to every day pass user. They like it.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Welcoming them in, saying hi, introducing yourself. Like that part,
Yeah.
like I'm a business owner that puts my head down and does work.
Totally, right. So you have this, like, "This is not my most productive, like, best use of my time." But you said 60% of your users are right, like, sort of on demand, day pass, meeting room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a core part of your revenue.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that kind of caught me off guard, like
Mhm.
paying attention to that social hospitality aspect, I guess, of it. that plays a vital role in Google reviews and all those other fun
Mhm.
things that are important.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jody, thank you for sharing,
You're welcome.
and happy anniversary,
Thank you.
and until next time.
I would love to be back. Thanks for all your help, Jamie.